from the Hello everybody, we are the B-Twins and today we are very proud to be performing for you guys live from Des Moines, Iowa in support of Coaches versus Cancer. Yes, the American Cancer Society is deeply committed to finding new answers that will help every child and family affected by cancer. Yes, the ACS funds cancer research primarily with personal donation like yours. Yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight and helping us getting closer to a world without cancer. Enjoy the show. Somebody that you'd never say, and don't you worry about what will happen. Get up late and cancel all the plans you have made. Enjoy the wedding, go play outside in the rain, and you won't have a reason to regret it. And don't forget, you won't live once, yeah. Don't forget, we only live once, yeah. And don't forget, you won't live once, yeah. Don't forget, we only live once, yeah. All the bad things we fighting, all the hard times in life, YOLO, YOLO. Now, to all those people who forget that life is short, the clock is fast, YOLO, YOLO, yeah. Living life as if today was your last day. Say I love you to somebody that you never say, and don't you worry about what will happen. Get up late and cancel all the plans you have made. Enjoy the wedding, go play outside in the rain, and you won't have a reason to regret it. And don't forget, you won't live once, yeah. And don't forget, we only live once, yeah.
Welcome to our Coaches vs. Cancer virtual season tip-off event. My name is Len Jennings with KMBC9, and here with me tonight to help kick off this wonderful event is Haley Harrison.
Thanks, Len. It is an honor to be here with you all this evening to support the American Cancer Society's mission to save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. Tonight promises to be special. As we celebrate the 13th anniversary of this event in Kansas City, we also want to recognize the 27 years since the inception of the Coaches vs. Cancer platform.
26 years ago, the head basketball coach at the University of Missouri had a vision. Norm Stewart, a cancer survivor himself, inspired coaches around the country to come together for one cause: Coaches vs. Cancer. Since then, Coaches vs. Cancer has gone on to raise an astonishing $130 million nationwide for the American Cancer Society, which has resulted in more research funding at institutions like KU, K-State, Mizzou, UMKC, and many other outstanding research institutions across the country. We also want to take a moment to recognize one man with the National Association of Basketball Coaches who has had an incredible impact on the game of basketball and Coaches vs. Cancer, Reggie Minton. Reggie, thank you for all you have done, and congratulations on the announcement of your recent retirement. Tonight, we have a special opportunity to raise funds in support of something that is near and dear to many of our hearts: pediatric cancer research. The critical research that we will be funding together will focus on new advances to treat childhood cancer and to improve prevention, detection, and treatment, including reducing the long-term side effects for childhood cancer survivors.
On average, 200 children are diagnosed with cancer every week in the United States. And that's why we call on you tonight to help the American Cancer Society as we attack cancer, every cancer, from every angle. Events like tonight are not possible without our valued and passionate community partners. We are extremely fortunate that the following sponsors could be a part of the Coaches vs. Cancer Kansas City virtual season tip-off event: Matt Stabler Golf Tournament, Capital Federal, Garney Construction, Henderson Engineers, J.E. Dunn, Roger and Sherry Gardner, and the University of Kansas Health System. Thank you for supporting the American Cancer Society and the mission.
I know you're all waiting to hear from your favorite area basketball coaches, but before we get to them, I want to make you aware of a couple of things. Tonight, you can test your luck with our online raffle items. Check out packages number 4, 5, and 6, where you could win a Microsoft Surface Go 2, a Chiefs package, and a Charlie Hustle package. Also, for $50, you could be the light in a child's life by helping us sell all of our 18-inch chocolate teddy bears that will be donated to care packages sent to kids fighting cancer. To give a bear a hug, you can bid on package number 3. You can bid on any of these items and many, many more at cvckc2020.givesmart.com. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi, welcome to the show tonight. I'm JC Hoyt, the head women's basketball coach for the Kansas City Brewers. Last year, I had the pleasure of serving on the Coaches vs. Cancer panel, and it was an incredible night. I wish that we could be there with you again in person, but this is going to be a great time as well. Last year, I had the pleasure of meeting my cancer champion, Sophia. Sophia and I had an instant connection. She was someone who made a very lasting impression on me and my team. In fact, I still to this day wear the bracelet that she gave me as a reminder to find strength in the hard things and push through, just like Sophia does every day. Finding a cure for cancer is incredibly close to my heart. I hope it's close to your heart as well, and I know that that's why you guys are here. No parent of a child ever wants to hear those words that their child has cancer. Tonight, we have a unique and fun opportunity to get to contribute to helping such a great cause to fight a terrible disease. One of my favorite things about Kansas City is just the generosity of the community. So tonight, I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you find it in your heart to step up to the challenge and do your part to fight such a nasty disease. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Coach Hoyt, and congratulations on such an incredible year. For those of you watching, the UMKC Women's Roos won the 2020 Western Athletic Conference regular season title, and Coach J.C. Hoyt was named the 2020 Western Athletic Conference Coach of the Year. On top of this, UMKC Athletics was well represented at the first ever Regional Honorary ESPYs. Graduated senior Erica Mattingly was awarded Female College Athlete of the Year, and Coach Hoyt was even named KC Metro Coach of the Year. Congratulations and wow. Thank you again, Coach Hoyt, for joining us this evening and on all of your accomplishments this past season. We can't wait to see what's in store for the upcoming year.
Last year, we met 9-year-old cancer champion Harper Clare and her family. Harper enjoyed meeting University of Kansas coach Bill Self on stage at the 2019 event and shared her cancer story with the audience. Beating childhood cancer takes the strength of a champion, and Harper shows us how she's doing it today.
We've been going through this battle for a while. I originally, 2018, osteosarcoma, had rotationplasty, and we had gotten through the chemo. We were working on getting her back up to being able to walk. She was walking on a prosthetic, but the healing never quite got to where it needed to be. Went into the hospital and got another scan and found same leg, new tumor.
They told us the chance that it come back in her leg like that was incredibly small, so they weren't expecting to see anything like that. But when we were done, before they let us go, the radiologist asked to see me. I mean, this happening in the middle of a pandemic is kind of overwhelming. It was pretty tough, but honestly, she's been amazing. I don't know any adult that could handle this as well as she's handled everything, so.
She's been incredible at enduring some of the ups and downs that we have from there. She has been more concerned about the experience of others around her than she really has about her own experience. And what I mean by that is like surgery days, when we're waiting for her to go back for surgery, she was going up to family and telling them it's gonna be okay and giving them a hug. On the times when we were talking about preparing to battle cancer again, she was the one saying, we're gonna get through this. Her inner strength and maturity is inspiring.
I tell you, Harper's story really does hit home for so many of us. Harper, thank you for being so vulnerable during your 6th round of chemotherapy and sharing your story with us tonight. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Luce. This is my wife, Jen, and this is our daughter, Ryan. I work at the University of Missouri in the athletic department as an assistant AD, and I am incredibly proud to serve as the co-chair for our Coaches vs. Cancer Board of Ambassadors. As a former basketball coach, Coaches vs. Cancer holds a special place in my heart for a couple different reasons. First of all, my father, Dave, was the head coach at Austin Peay State University for 27 years and an extremely active member in Coaches vs. Cancer. But he was also a cancer survivor. Along with that, the second reason Coaches vs. Cancer is so special to us is cancer has hit home, especially close in our family.
And we're extremely well aware of just how impactful events like tonight can be on the children fighting childhood cancer. 5 years ago, Ryan, who was 5 at the time, was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma, and the situation was very bleak at the time. But thanks to a clinical trial that was privately funded by events just like this, we are thrilled to say that she's almost 4 years cancer-free in November. So your donations tonight are truly making a difference.
They really are. And that is why I am proud to share our Wish Upon a Wildcat, Jayhawk, Roo, or most importantly, Tiger, premier packages tonight. I know firsthand what a day away from cancer can do for a child fighting this terrible disease. You have an opportunity tonight to team up with our coaches to spread hope to a child who is battling cancer by sponsoring them for a special day on campus, a day where they can forget about the disease of cancer. So I am asking you to go now and bid on on your team's wish packages. Beginning with number 15 in the silent auction, go to cvckc.givesmart.com to bid. Or you can simply make a donation by going through package number 1 in the silent auction. You have until 9 p.m. tonight. I hope you will join us in donating to this worthy cause and make a child in Kansas City who is fighting cancer make their day just a little bit brighter. Now, enough from us. It's time to hear from the people we came to hear from. So let's bring in our coaches and our special guest, ESPN reporter Holly Rowe. Holly?
Welcome everybody to our virtual Coaches versus Cancer Kansas City edition. And we are so excited to be joined by some outstanding coaches who are passionate about raising money to fight cancer. I know during all of this COVID-19, it's been very difficult for everyone, but the scary thing is that cancer is not going anywhere. So thank you to all of the coaches who have still agreed to participate and give us their time. So let's get things started. We are so excited for our next guest, Billy Donlin from UMKC. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, Holly. How are you?
I'm doing so great. I know you're probably sick of all of these Zoom calls, but I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. So first and foremost, I want to kind of get every coach's personal perspective of how has cancer impacted or affected your life?
Yeah, for me, my mother, it'll be 18 years ago, or was 18 years ago, September 3rd, was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer. And she beat it for 8 years. She was given a 10% chance to live 6 months upon diagnosis. And she beat it for 8 years. And she died September 3rd, 2010. So I was 33. My daughter was 5. And really tough time when you lose a loved one. We've all either have great friends, important family member, or some of us ourselves are fighting this terrible disease. And, this is as important. Tonight is as important of an opportunity that I get to do all year, and it's very meaningful to me. And it's not that you don't have sympathy for people that are going through it, but sometimes it feels it hits a little bit harder when it happens in your house, and certainly it gave me new perspective in 2010 when my mother died. That we together. Certainly Coaches versus Cancer have to do everything in our power to continue to defeat this awful disease. And the last part on this, Holly, that I would say is what I've monitored is 18 years ago, like I said, when my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer, which at the time was the worst breast cancer to get. Now, 18 years later, when you have that same diagnosis, because of medical enhancements and advancements, your prognosis is much different than it was from my mom 18 years ago. And I'd like to think that Coaches versus Cancer and what people do here tonight have played a significant role in that improvement.
I think it's a great point, Coach Donlin, because I've learned in my own cancer battle that research is the key. Is if we can fund research and all of the money that we're raising tonight, if we can help put that towards research, because treatments have changed greatly. I know that your mom, that diagnosis is devastating, but treatments are very different now. And I think that's, it's hard to know that it was too late for your loved one, but it's encouraging to know that for people who are newly getting diagnosed, that can impact and change their course of treatment and their ability to fight this. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's a personal story, and it's hard to hear that you've lost your mom, and I'm so sorry, but thank you for your dedication to this cause. It's important. I hope you don't mind if we also talk some basketball. I know that's it's hard to make that transition, but your team, you're new to your team a little bit. You've been there since March 2019, and you're kind of trying to build there and build. And then you're hit with, shutdown of sports and everything that happened in March. So how have you kind of navigated this time as a new coach, building a program?
Yeah, it's certainly, there's no playbook for it. I've had some great mentors in my life. Brad Burnell, the head coach at Clemson, John Beeline, who I worked for at Michigan, Chris Collins at Northwestern. Coach Weber's brother was on my high school coaching staff, a tremendous coach. So I've been blessed. I'm a coach's kid. My dad coached for a long time. But you call all those people, there's no playbook because nobody's, thank goodness, gone through a pandemic. And the number one thing, Holly, is that you're just trying to make sure your kids mentally are okay. They're 18 to 22. You're trying to make sure their mental health is okay. And then, you try to communicate with them all the time, every day, whether it's Zoom calls like this that we're having tonight, or and then staying on top of them from an academic standpoint and continuing to build the culture that we preach here to have success. And it's been a challenge. I'm blessed with a really good staff. We've got an excellent coaching staff, and I think we've handled it pretty well thus far. But I'm not the one who gives out the grades. That's up. My boss will determine how good of a job I've done. So we'll see what they have to say about it as this next season comes around.
I think it's important what you said is we're learning during this time to keep kids motivated, keep people engaged, because it's been such a weird, hard time. And I've learned a lot about myself. I didn't know how to live without sports. I've learned that I have no life without sports, and I've got to get more balanced in my life because all I care about is sports. So I was just curious, as you're, kind of sitting at home or at the stay home orders or what have you, what is your why? What have you discovered about yourself during this time of why you do what you do? Why do you love coaching, and why will you be a better coach coming out of this?
I think that's an outstanding question. And I think what you really learn is this is my 21st season of Division I coaching, which compared to some of the other incredible men on this that are with us tonight, it's not a lot, but 21 years is a long time. So I've coached a lot of players. And I think really when those guys reach out to you to check in, how are you doing through this, coach? It really just kind of re-energizes you as to that's your why, is the commitment to help young people become successful adults. And that for me was really good. And then the other thing, look, when you're a coach, you're helping other people's children a lot, right? And that's what you sign up for. And it's an honor and a very humbling experience to do that. But sometimes you miss out on some things in your own house. So that time for me, I spent 3 months at my in-laws back home in Chicago. And we're still married, so that's great, right? And but we have a little 18-month-old baby, Emily, so you got some time there to try to. I think coming out, one of the things I also want to be able to do is continue to try to find that balance. And in coaching, that's hard to do sometimes. And so those were the couple things that I took away from our time that we were home, that we were in quarantine, is just how important those relationships are with the players that you've coached over the years, and also the other coaches that I've worked with, how good they've been to me to help me through this process and this difficult time trying to run a program in the middle of a pandemic. So, and then obviously my family time. So in a lot of ways, that part of it's been a blessing.
So thank you so much, Billy Donlon from UMKC. We appreciate your time tonight, and especially because you have been so personally impacted by the fight against cancer. Our blessings and love to you. And if you don't mind, just share one more passionate reason why you hope people can donate tonight and help in the fight against cancer.
Look, it's a very difficult time for everybody financially and what's going on in our world and in our country. But if there's no more important time than tonight to give, because Coaches versus Cancer is one of the most important organizations that not only in sports, but really in our country. And we need to continue to grow, to help with research, to help with medical advancements, to annihilate this horrific disease of cancer.
Joining us now, we are so excited to have one of the most successful coaches at UMKC, Coach J.C. Hoyt. And thank you for being here tonight. I know that you were part of this great event last year. What did you learn, and why are you excited to continue your association with Coaches versus Cancer?
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be a part of this organization. Just like everyone watching, I'm sure everyone feels or has felt the effects of cancer in some way, shape, or form. For me, I lost my grandmother when I was really young to cancer. I lost one of my high school basketball coaches to cancer, and just feeling the effects of, losing someone or being close to someone who's battling just such a nasty disease that affects so many people. It's really been an honor for me to get to be a part of the solution for it. And, but it was so fun for me last year, Holly, because I went into it thinking that, maybe I could help impact or make a change. And my cancer champion, her name is Sophia. She just stole my heart. And she really ended up being someone who was incredibly special to me and my team all throughout the year. And we just found so much strength and motivation from her and, watching the ups and downs that she was going through. And so it's just funny how that works. I went into it thinking that I could be someone who would help, but it turned out that Sophia helped me way more than I probably helped her.
It's a beautiful sentiment that you're saying is this is a team, and we have to be a winning team against cancer. A little something about winning teams, your 2020 team winning the WAC championship. I'm so excited for you. You were also named the WAC Coach of the Year. Tell me what you're proud of that both you and your team were able to accomplish this season.
Yeah, it was an awesome year. It was the first time in school history to win a conference championship. And so that was incredibly special for us, not just because of our team and all the hard work and sacrifices that we had made, but just to be able to represent, our university, a city that loves athletics so much. It's the most electric place that I've ever lived, just with the most passionate sports fans. So, you got the Chiefs and you've got the Royals and you've got Sporting KC. And so to be able to put our school on the map in Kansas City for women's basketball was incredibly special.
It's so exciting. I used to cover the WAC. I used to do the WAC Women's Basketball Game of the Week. So it is near and dear to my heart. We used to cover, like, Becky Hammond was playing at Colorado State. And the first interview I ever did with Bill Self, he was the head coach at Tulsa when Tulsa was in the WAC. So I'm so excited for you guys to be in that conference. It's quality and congratulations. So I know this has been such a strange year and you guys didn't have a chance to go on and kind of finish your season in the NCAA tournament. Tell me how you have navigated with your group, the stay home period and now ramping up, because it's looking like we are going to have a women's season and we're very excited.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that we can pull that off. I know there's just so many people working very, very hard to make sure that we do get some type of season. You mentioned teamwork earlier, and it really just has to be that same mentality because, as you know, they're hard, they're stressful, they're everything but normal. So you just have to, I think, really keep your eyes locked in on the things that matter most and try and just be grateful for the little things. And I know I'm really grateful for my team, even if we've had to Zoom or, can't be in person, but just staying together and helping each other through the challenges that COVID has brought.
I know for me, I grew up in that generation of like, we're tough-minded people. I'm mentally tough. I'm so strong. And I've been here in the WNBA Wubble now for almost 2.5 months. And what I'm learning is this generation is much better at talking about mental struggles. And I've learned the term self-care. And they're teaching me how to, you don't just fight through things in battle. You have to have some self-care. How are your athletes different right now that you are learning from them and helping them manage this very anxious time?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's so funny you say that because, I've been so worried about them and doing everything I possibly can to make sure that they're in a good mental state and, just trying to provide resources for them and be a resource. But what I've found and what I've told my staff is, guys, they're resilient. They're way more resilient than I thought that they were. And so I've actually learned a lot from them through this time. But again, I think just perspective is everything. And it's really hard to, start being depressed or feeling bad if you're really being intentional about focusing on all of the positive things. And it doesn't feel like that all the time right now, I know, but there really is so much good in the world and so much good around us. And so we're just really trying to focus on that.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this tonight with us. Speaking of all of the good in the world, what would your final message be to people who are watching tonight of the good they can do tonight?
Well, I think that whether it's cancer related or COVID related, we just have to remember that we're always going to be better and stronger together. So just to stick together and support whatever that may look like. If that is just by showing up and being present for someone, whether it's supporting financially, there's something that we can all bring to the table here. And I just really encourage everyone to step up and own the space that they're given.
Beautiful. I love that. Own the space that you're given. And tonight, the space we are given is in the fight against cancer. We thank you so much for being here and all of your great work and all of your great coaching. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Holly.
Coach Weber, how are you? You and I were together in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. I remember standing on the court when sports kind of came tumbling down. And how have you been navigating your pandemic and your life in the last 6 months?
Well, actually, we were one of the last games, if you remember. We beat TCU, and we were excited. We went back to the hotel planning, trying to start our prep for Baylor. But once I got back to my room about 2 a.m., and saw the NBA players tested positive and they were bussing home, I knew we were going to be in trouble and we weren't going to have a chance to see you again the next day. But, and also thank you for being part of this tonight. It means so much. It adds some credibility to the event, and what you've done with your battle, it's greatly appreciated that you're part of this, and you know how important it is because you've had to deal with it, but it's been tough. I mean, I heard Billy talking, it's not an easy time. I think at first, when that first week, it is kind of like, what's going to happen? Oh, is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 2 weeks? And then all of a sudden you realize it's not. And then, Billy brought up about the players, and I sat there, you're feeling sorry for yourself. And then I realized, hey, this is what our job is about. We're supposed to be the adults. We're supposed to help them. And I told our staff, instead of sitting there and doing nothing, we got to go out and reach out to our guys and help them. Right now, everybody needs a purpose. Everyone needs hope. Everybody needs empathy. And then when you deal with the social injustice and the inequality, all the things we've had to deal with during this time, I think it makes it even tougher on us as coaches to help our guys navigate through that. And then also I've been married, Megan, 39 years, and this, after about 2 weeks, it was the longest we had ever been together. There's no way, because in coaching, you're always going somewhere. And so now we're going on 6 months, and we are still married. And, there's some tough days for everybody, but we deal with it. And I think for us, it's been great because we've enjoyed cooking together and doing some of that stuff that we haven't done, because usually I get home, that meal I hope is on the table because I'm tired.
I always used to feel sorry for coaches' spouses because, they have to handle so much of the load by themselves. And now I still feel sorry for coaches' spouses because now their partners are home and they're having to deal with them being cranky and being irritated.
So I would just go in the office. We had an office in the basement. I had never used it, almost very rarely. And every morning go down there, you start making calls. We kind of joked. She said I could come up for recess, and we took a walk around 12:30 for lunch, like you're a little kid, and we did a recess walk. And then I go back down, and I'd have a snack, go back down until dinner. But it gave us some time. It's given us some time together. There's no doubt.
It's beautiful. Well, Coach, I wanted to ask you about your personal connection with cancer. And, you talked about we've gone through this unprecedented time. I know many of the universities around the country are laying people off, and there's furloughs, and coaches are taking cuts. But I am passionate that we continue to fund cancer research because it's not going anywhere. And I know people are exhausted, but why is it important that we continue to do this and raise money?
Well, one of the first weeks we actually had a Coaches versus Cancer call, and obviously there was a lot of, this has had so much impact on so many people, and as you mentioned, furloughs, jobs laid off, can't pay their rent, all that, and there's a lot of people in need, so we have to help them. But on our call, we also, as you said earlier, cancer's not going away, so we have to continue doing that. And for me, it goes way back. I was a little young child. My grandmother has cancer at that time. This is in the early 60s. We couldn't go see her. They didn't know about it. It was so unknown. And then I had an uncle, and then my wife's mother, and then of course, coaches. I've had 2 assistant coaches that I've worked with. Wayne McLean, of course, a long time Illinois high school coach and assistant with us at Illinois and K-State. When you have all these people, it adds up. And when it affects you, as Billy said, you want to give back. And I think it's so important. Tonight is important for raising funds for, as you talked about, for research, because every time we raise $1, we might be saving a life, or at least giving them another birthday. And you're a great example of that. You're on here and you're doing well. And probably if there weren't Coaches versus Cancer events 20, 25 years ago, a lot of things could be different.
I'm very aware of that, because I hope people don't mind, but I was in a clinical trial on a very cutting edge drug, and my doctor had been funded by the V Foundation for ESPN and the American Cancer Society. And so what if people hadn't donated years ago and funded this research? I really wouldn't probably be here with you tonight. And so I think that's why it's so personal to all of us that we continue to focus on this, even when we have other things going on. And I know people have fatigue with everything that's going on in our country. I did want to get to some good news, though. You had a really special award, and I'm so proud of you for this, the National USA Basketball Coach of the Year. What did that mean to you to know that you had represented our country so well and that you received that award this summer?
Well, it was special. There's not just getting the National Coach of the Year, but winning the gold and being there. And we put together some Zoom recruiting tapes, to help us. And we've all had to do that. And part of that, the coaches included, our USA team, and being there for the gold medal. And Shane Southwell, one of my former players, who's now one of my assistants, came as our video guy, scout guy. And we kind of reminisce. One of the things you've done during COVID is sit there, you have more time and you think about things like that. And there's no doubt it brought a special feeling, a special pride to me to represent the country. I had been involved with USA Basketball as a college committee member. I had been a help coach Katie all the years when we were at Purdue together. He was the head coach many times, so I had helped with the trials and did different things. But to be the head coach and to win a gold, and it was the biggest winning margin in the history of the World Cup that we won games by. And so we did it right, and it was fun, and we were in Crete, Greece. So those are good memories. You want to, if you want a good vacation when we all can go on vacation again, I'm telling you, Crete, Greece is pretty cool.
That is unbelievable, winning that FIBA U19 gold medal, and it was so special. I wanted to ask you one more last question about you brought up good memories, and I think that's one thing we did have time to do. As I sat home through the pandemic, I realized that I had never been busier working, because every game they were replaying on ESPN or ESPN2 or ESPNU was something I had worked, and I just felt so lucky and grateful. What were some of the memories that you thought of your 21 years coaching that you look back and think, wow, this is really special?
Well, you'll remember our 05 team, of course, the Illinois team that went to the Final Four, and it was the 15th anniversary. And so right away when things got going with March Madness, or were supposed to be going, did a lot of Zoom calls, was on with Roger Powell and Darren Williams and Dee Brown and those guys, James Augustine, and just, those were really special memories in that season, to be undefeated till the last game, and really two possessions from perfection. The Carolina game, we had a couple shots, and the last game of the year, Ohio State hit a 3 to beat us at the buzzer. But, that special 2019 to win the Big 12 and to win it at home with a group of seniors, Barry Brown, Dean Wade, Kamal Stokes, that meant so much to our program. And then just, I talked to Coach Katie, I don't know about every day, but almost every day. And just a lot of memories with those teams. You get, you're talking Glenn Robinson, Steve Scheffler, Troy Lewis. And so, the one thing I've really tried to do is reach out to during this time. Again, everyone needs hope, and they need purpose, and they need people giving them some empathy and love. And I've tried to reach out to a lot of those guys. We did a birthday call for Coach Katie. There was about 25 guys on a Zoom, and they, he's giving them heck, and they're giving him telling stories. So a lot of fun. But I guess when you're looking for good of this, this is a type of thing where you really reflect and remember all the positive things and all the people that you hopefully have affected through all these years of coaching.
Oh, that is so special. Well, Coach, thank you so much. I really am struck by two things you said. Is one, the week the pandemic hits, like the Big 12 is canceled, the March Madness is canceled, your livelihoods kind of go up in smoke, if you will, and that you all jumped on a Coaches versus Cancer call. That's precious.
Yeah, but it's important, as you know, and again, we were trying to figure out what can we do. We don't want to. Does it look bad if we're trying to raise money and everyone's suffering for COVID? But we still there is cancer there, and so it's important. And I know Lon Kruger still had his event in Vegas. I didn't go. We still had 12 K-Staters and their wives go out there, and they all came back and they're healthy, which is good. But things that like Lon does, it's unbelievable what he has done through the years. But all those events, again, it's, right now, COVID's going to go away. We all know it. It might take longer than we want to, but, cancer will continue to be there. So we need to continue that battle.
Coach, we are so excited to talk to you. I don't think I've seen you since we were on the court for the charity event when Missouri and Kansas played each other. I think coaches come together for charity, and it's such a beautiful thing. Why is it so important to you?
I think for me, the impact of giving back, but also being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 26 years old. So I understand the importance of somebody giving back and giving their time. And due to that, I'm able to be here to this day. So it's very important that we give back and give our time, especially for something of this magnitude.
You talk about that as a 26-year-old, that had to be frightening. And we have so many good treatments now for that disease. How important is it to you that people continue to fund research and help people like yourself who are diagnosed at a young age?
I think it's very important that we help people understand, because what happens if it doesn't impact you or your family, then you don't give it as much time, because it really hit home for me when I was impacted by it. So that means not only me, but my immediate family, as well as all my other family members, understood the importance of giving back and giving your time to it. So I think we as a community have to do a better job of making people understand that this affects all walks of life.
It does. And, we were talking a little bit earlier with the other coaches that throughout this pandemic and COVID-19 and how it has disrupted our lives and our communities, cancer's kind of been pushed to the side, and maybe we haven't had it top of mind like we normally do. How can we be diligent and concerned and donate and worried about both?
Well, it's so many things that go on in our lives, in our world, that we have to have the ability and the mental capacity to try to do everything, which is exhausting at times, but it's our right and it's our duty as a community, as people. We have to do it because, again, whatever goes on in our lives, cancer impacts everybody. So we have to take the time. We have to be committed to it because, again, I'm grateful to be here 20 plus years later because of all the research and the help and the money that people spent to make sure that people like me were able to live here.
You had such a great playing career. I'm sure that was shocking to get that diagnosis after you've been just like this incredible athlete and the success that you had as a basketball player at Purdue. And I'm just curious, what are some things that you feel like you can bring to your players now and you can share with them now because you have intimately lived the life that they are going through right now?
Well, I think that the biggest thing that I talk to our players about often, and I would say somewhat lost, but not completely, is just the accountability to do the right things, to be trustworthy and to be respectful. Because I think when you're talking about respect and telling the truth and being trustworthy, it seems today that's a moving target, and whichever gives you comfort. So I tell our guys all the time, you have to have the ability to tell the truth, to be honest and be respectful, because and even in some ways I see with recruits, they don't respect the parents at the level they need to, or at least how I used to. I mean, and to this day, I'll be 49 years old, and I'm 49 years old. My mom never heard me use a cuss word. At least I don't think so. She might have called me in another room. But there are certain things that we have to understand. Respect is a genuine thing. We have to continue to improve our character as young men and women.
So, Coach, I want to share this with you because I'm coming to you live from the WNBA bubble. I have been in the same hotel room now since July 5th and covering WNBA games. But that accountability piece, we have seen that become a huge thing because all of a sudden you're in a bubble environment. The NBA is going through this where everybody can see what you're doing. And if you're that guy or that girl on that team that are not doing right, it impacts your professional career. And so I love what you're saying is if you're accountable and respectful all the time, then you're in the best position to win.
I think so. And then again, there's no better way to understand what it means to be trustworthy, to be accountable, to have compassion, to have passion for what you're doing when you're part of a team, because the camaraderie of a team will expose you or to put you on a pedestal. And I think those are the beautiful things about being in locker rooms. It helps you grow if you're willing to grow.
Beautiful. So you start, we're just kind of hopeful that the basketball season is going to start. We're getting some good news, it seems. And I'm just wondering how you're kind of navigating getting guys back on campus and getting them ready for the season, even with some uncertainty still going.
Well, the thing about it, I didn't really feel comfortable with bringing our guys back in the summer. So we had 4 guys, and they basically live here. Not that their home lives were bad, but they basically older guys that lived here. So they started working out late July, and there was just individual workouts, no team stuff. And we had all our guys come back August 13th. We started school August the 24th. So it was a slow process for us to bring our guys back, and now we're implementing our team, and it feels good.
Awesome. What is something we can look forward to with your team this season?
I think the things, we have the personnel to be very talented. We have all the parts. We have experience. We have great guards. We have Jeremiah Tillman as one of the better bigs in college basketball. I think the things that we have to do well, we didn't do last year. We got to shoot the 3 ball well. We got open looks, but they didn't fall. And we got to finish at the rim well. We had opportunities, but didn't finish well. And then we have to continue to defend at a high level without fouling.
I think this basketball season can have a special tone. You know, as I mentioned, I've been here with the WNBA and everything they're doing to bring awareness to social justice and how we can be better as a country. And I think Missouri athletes have always kind of been on the forefront of that. You know, we've seen football protests. I know basketball has done some. How are you empowering your young people so that they can be passionate and use their voices? You use that word passion, and I think it goes well here.
Well, I think it's for our guys, and, you know, all the stuff that's been going on in society just over the course of years, but I've always been a coach that talk real talk with our players, real life stuff, because we can't run from that. Yes, I'm hired to be a coach at this university, but we have to recognize situations that take place in life. And I always tell our guys, you can't get confused with civil rights and human rights. I have the decency to have human rights, and I can't be less than a human. We all are equal. And I think for me, it goes back to great education, but what does that mean? We have to define it. As we talk about it, we have to define what does great education mean. We have to have great health care. We have to decrease poverty in low income communities. And then I think the most important thing for all of us, we have to improve our criminal justice system, because I think we're really flawed in that department.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time today. We're excited to see how your team is this season, and we appreciate your time. And more importantly, we appreciate that you are a survivor. If you don't mind, just give me one more wonderful plea for the folks listening tonight of why it might be important to contribute and support Coaches versus Cancer.
I think it's very important. And I'll just give you a story of when I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. My son Joshua was 4.5 months old. And I just prayed to God, I said, God, allow me to see Joshua turn 18. And today, Joshua is 23 years old. He's in grad school studying speech pathology. So again, for those that like me, that's a great thing. So again, if you like me, that's a great story. And I think it's very important we understand, separate sport and human life. And because of the impact and the amount of money and time spent, I'm able to tell that story.
It's beautiful. Thank you for your time, Coach. Even if people didn't like you, that's still a great story, and we appreciate it. I love it. It's beautiful. And I can't imagine who those awful people would be anyway. So there.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. That is Coach Quanzo Martin from Missouri. We appreciate your time tonight, and we are so glad that you are here and still with us, and that your beautiful son is here as well.
Thank you.
Joining us now for our Kansas City Coaches versus Cancer virtual event is Coach Bill Self from the Kansas Jayhawks. And Coach, you know, we were together in Kansas City when everything kind of came to a grinding halt. I think one of the saddest things I had over the whole pandemic is I was mourning what I thought could be maybe a Kansas or Baylor Final Four. I really thought that Kansas and Baylor had all that it took to maybe make it to the Final Four. How did you navigate that time afterwards when your season came to a quick end?
Well, I actually think both teams would have had a real shot. Of course, there's no guarantees in the tournament, but they were really, really good. And we were playing pretty well there down the stretch. And so it could have been a lot of fun. But, you know, the thing about it is there's more important things than one tournament. And our players actually have really been mature about that. I've been so impressed with their attitudes and seeing big picture rather than just seeing it through their own eyes. And you know, it's been a unique time. I think it's hard when you disperse, you know, that day. What was it, Holly? Like March 12th?
Yeah, March 11th or 12th, I think.
12th.
Yeah.
And so by March 13th, get off campus. We don't want to see you again, basically, until we invite you back. And we didn't invite them back until August. So that's a long time to go without seeing your team. And of course, we had Zoom calls and all those things, but they handled it well. And certainly with all the other things that have transpired with, you know, all the social injustices and the tragedies and the events that have taken place through that and COVID and you've got so many financial things going on with all universities and everybody around the world, and regardless of what type of employment you have, it's just been a strange time. But you know, at least we're back to some normalcy now. We got, you know, school started. We are playing football. Fall sports are playing. You know, it's not normal, but it's closer to normal than what it was, let's say, a month ago.
It is. And Coach, you brought up a great point because, you know, financially it is a big deal. I know people are getting furloughed, people are losing their jobs. And here we are tonight asking people, you know, to donate money. And it feels a little bit weird. But one thing that I've been passionate about during the pandemic is cancer isn't going anywhere. We've all been so scared and so anxious about COVID and how that's impacted our communities. We've kind of forgotten cancer, and it's not going anywhere. And so why is it important, you know, even when we're stressed and even when we're anxious, perhaps financially, that we still focus on this?
Well, we all see things through our own perspective. I mean, we're going to vote for somebody probably in November that basically that you and your family feel would best benefit you if a particular person is in office. I mean, that's just kind of how the world works. But this is one area we need to really focus on the greater good. And the greater good is not sidestepping or not taking a back seat or not continually to provide us opportunities and researchers and doctors to fight, you know, this disease. And even though it's a lot to ask of people, but, you know, if people would put themselves in the position, let's say that you've been in, Holly, or so many of your friends that have fought this so hard, you would know that the little bit of money that people can give percentage wise goes such a long ways when you're talking about the mass numbers that can potentially give. And so it's a tough time to ask anybody for anything. I mean, try raising money for an athletic department now that you don't even know if fans are going to be able to come to games and all this stuff. I mean, it's hard to make budget in a lot of ways, but this is one item that I certainly hope doesn't have to be reallocated in a different way, because we made great progress, but there's still so much progress to make, and you can't do it without money.
I agree. Thank you so much. We want to talk about some things that people want to hear about. So you said you haven't seen your guys, they came back in August. I've seen some workout videos. I've seen your media day that took place recently. What is some excitement you have moving forward to the season? Because normally we would have been talking about this a lot more, but we haven't known what the season would bring. What kind of excitement do you have gearing up?
Well, I like my guys. I think every coach should like his team before they start playing. And then after you start playing, maybe you realize that maybe there's a few things that I'm not quite as keen on as what I thought I would be. But I can tell you this, my guys have been tense, the attitudes, everything. The guys that don't know are guys that know they don't know. And so that to me has been a blessing as far as coaching them so far. And we're limited on what we've done, but you can just see there's a chemistry and a camaraderie that we usually have, but maybe more so than most years, And I think that may be consistent with a lot of teams out there because it's so different. And we're telling our guys, hey, stay away from the college population. Kind of isolate yourself, bubble yourself in some way, shape, or form. And so it gives your own teams an opportunity to grow closer than they ever have. And so I like it. I think through the social issues that have come up, I think that I'm more in touch with my players, and I think they're more in touch with me. So I actually feel really good about where we are relationship-wise. And I didn't guarantee you making a shot or getting a big stop, but I'm really excited to coach this particular group of kids.
That's beautiful. One of the things that has been fun over the pandemic is they have been replaying all these great games. Like they replayed the 2008 National Championship. And I watched that game again. I've watched it, I don't know how many times. And I watched it again like it was the first time, so thrilled with that outcome. How do you look back on that time and kind of be nostalgic about it in a way now that you have more time?
I actually have been a little bit. We did a deal here. It was called self-reflection or self-reflective or something like that, where I went back and did like 10 games that were iconic games from my perspective. But in the times that we've been here, that were kind of program type changing games, and it was so cool to go back and watch those games and rag on all my ex-players on what they didn't do right and what they did do right. And it was cool. But the national championship game, I think I said this, I've seen that game 51 times, let's say, but that's the first time I've seen it in probably 10 years because I saw it 50 times in the first 60 days after we played it. So it did bring back some great memories. And of course, if it would only been the third or fourth time I'd seen it, I've been very nervous coming down the stretch, but I was totally confident that Mario was going to make that shot there at the end, watching it this time. But the other thing, Holly, this, and being around sports like you have, it's great to do it, but the more you get, the more you want. And so I thought I really won the national championship, so bad back in the beginning. Well, I think you enjoy those things so much that you want even another one more than you would like to have the first one, because that's what drives people, and that's what separates good from great and that kind of stuff. And so I'm really it gets me more excited for the future, knowing that feeling that exists when you do it, how good it can be again, because I think it can be twice as good.
Tell me a little bit about what's important for you, before we let you go, to the people listening tonight. What do you think is important for Coaches versus Cancer in the future of this Kansas City chapter?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are important. I think one that we always should do as a coach is to look back and respect and admire the efforts of Coach Norm Stewart. As a Kansan now, growing up playing against him, there's no coach out there that I would respect any more than him, not only as a coach, but also for a coach to be that successful that his legacy is going to be something off the court is pretty special. And so when I think when we think about Coaches versus Cancer, especially in this area, we should all take pride that it was started in this area by one of our very own, even though, you can say what you want to about Coach Stewart. All Kansas fans love Norm Stewart. They can say they hate it, whatever. They wanted Norm Stewart to be on the bench every time Missouri played Kansas. And that's respect. I mean, and so and I'm sure K-State fans felt the exact same way when Coach Stewart was going against Coach Hartman and Coach Kruger and all that stuff. So to respect what others have done and to continue to build off of his efforts, I think is something that we should do as a coach, regardless. But the other thing is things can get stale sometimes, and regardless of what you do, I mean, my voice gets stale and other things get stale. I do think what we can really do to benefit Coaches versus Cancer and of course the American Cancer Society is to be unique and get excited and to get revived about moving forward in a way that may be different and unique because of all the times that we're going through with COVID and everything else. So I think that should breed energy and enthusiasm as opposed to breeding, oh, geez, it's going to be harder than ever. Holly, there's a lot of people in this world that basically think probably more of you than you realize what people think of you, and certainly are appreciative of not only your hard work, your fairness, your professionalism. There's so many things that you're a 10 at, okay? Except when you took too much credit for coaching at my fantasy camp, because I don't think that coaching at my fantasy camp and getting Coach of the Week qualifies you to be so critical of me sometimes. But I'm joking. But I think sometimes there's just a few things that I think that that mean something to really means something to somebody that is different. And I think, we all hope that what you're getting ready to see means that to you.
Holly, you've entertained and informed us many, many times. Now you're an inspiration to thousands of us for your reaction to the dreaded disease. You've asked questions and made suggestions that have brought out the best in the participants. This award is a small donation in recognition of a great contribution. Thank you. God bless.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate Holly Rowe on winning the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. Holly's an inspiration to us all. She's done wonders for Big 12 basketball, and we're so proud of you and what you've done. Thank you.
Hey, Holly, I know you've had some great moments with our family. So as a family tonight, we wanted to take a second to congratulate you on the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. You're an inspiration to so many people, and you've got an amazing perseverance and spirit about yourself. From the Iowa State Cyclone basketball family and from the Iowa State family, we want to wish you continued success and continued health. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Charlie!
Congratulations on the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. Well deserving. Holly, you have been, just a bright light, just wonderful on all the broadcasts. You do such a great job. You're so prepared. Stay out now. Will you please stay out? Well, you know more about what I'm calling than I do. Love you, girl. Appreciate you. Congrats again.
Congratulations, Holly, on receiving the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. It's a tremendous honor, and no one is more deserving. I admire your strength, your courage, and your fight. I really enjoy the opportunities that we get to spend time with. You're always very positive and uplifting. I enjoy watching you do your work on TV, and I certainly look forward to having an opportunity to see you again. I know you'll continue to fight this battle as you have for so long, and you will continue to be victorious because you are a winner. Thank you, be safe, be well, and see you soon.
Well, you can take this opportunity to congratulate you on the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. Can't imagine anyone in the country more deserving. Always appreciate your friendship and all you do for college basketball and the inspiration you serve for others. Just your fight against cancer, your perspective, your attitude, your upbeat personality. Again, thanks for all you do. Congratulations again.
Congratulations, Holly Rowe, on receiving the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. I couldn't think of a more deserving person for this award. You're an inspiration and a symbol of strength. On a personal note, I'll never be able to thank you enough for what you did for Isaiah Austin as the world found out about his Morphin's diagnosis. You have the heart the size of Texas. Love you, Holly.
I want to congratulate a fellow cancer survivor, Holly Rowe, on winning the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. I couldn't think of a more deserving person with inspiration, fight, and resilience. Thank you, Holly, for all you do. Be safe and be well.
Holly, I want to congratulate you on the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. The thing that a lot of people don't know about you is you're a phenomenal mother. I've really enjoyed our conversations about your son and his development, all the books that he's read, and just getting a chance to know you as a person. We're inspired by how you fought and how you've had such an unbelievable attitude throughout this process. Thanks for everything you do for all of us, and again, congratulations on a well-deserved award.
I wanted to congratulate you on the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. I can't think of anyone that's more deserving than you. Thank you for all you do for others and for the game of college basketball. I will always remember you with heels on the scores table with our players after we upset Kansas on a big Monday. I feared for your life, and I'm just happy you're safe. I really appreciate all you do for the Big 12. Please stay safe and keep winning your battle against cancer.
Hey, Holly, you know we've all been a fan of yours from up close and from afar over the last couple of decades of you covering our sport, but never more so than now. And you receiving the Norm Stewart Legacy Award is something that's so deserved, coming from a man, a coach that everyone, including myself, looked up to and idolized and think the world of. And to see how you've handled your situation, battling cancer, with such toughness, with such class, and with such grace, and have been an unbelievable role model for so many. We all applaud you. Congratulations, Holly.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Like when I was a young journalist coming up, Missouri came and played at the NCAA tournament at the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I went into the press conference and I would ask Norm Stewart questions because I thought, if I can dare ask these questions, Norm Stewart, then maybe I'll make it as a journalist one day. So you don't know, this just means the world to me because he's somebody I really admire. Just want to encourage everyone because when I was able to get through my cancer and I have been surviving and I lived, I made it a goal that I would do everything I can to help others get to where I am and be survivors. So if anybody can contribute tonight, we are all in this fight together, and I'm here because of people like you who've already donated. Let's help other people continue to live their lives as well.
Congratulations to Holly Rowe on being awarded the Norm Stewart Legacy Award. Well deserved. The coaches tonight showed us that Coaches versus Cancer is about more than one night. It's about leading the fight. It's where devoted volunteers, philanthropic companies, and world-class basketball coaches meet and help beat childhood cancer. A huge thank you also goes out to the American Cancer Society Coaches versus Cancer volunteers, Board of Ambassadors, and Planning Committee for all of your hard work on this event. The hundreds of hours of time and talent you all give to the American Cancer Society are invaluable. Thank you. To each of the coaches, we are so grateful for your time and most importantly for your dedication and generosity to the fight against cancer. And finally, thanks to each of you for being here supporting the Coaches versus Cancer virtual season tip-off and pediatric cancer research. Remember, Our silent auction closes at 9 p.m., so keep on bidding on your favorite item, and we'll see you all next year, hopefully in person. Thank you all for helping the American Cancer Society save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. Have a great night.
What goes tick-tock and woof woof? A watchdog.
Okay. That was clever. When potatoes have babies, what are they called? Tater tots.
Tater tots. All right. That's a laugh, though. He's laughing at his own joke. That's very typical. What are twins' favorite fruit? Pears. Pears.
Does that count as a laugh? What do birds give out on Halloween? You gotta know this one.
Tweets.
There you go.
Tweets.
There you go.
Good man. See, that's why he's a great teammate. Just gave me the answer. Tweets.
Yeah.
What do you call blueberries playing the guitar? A jam session.
What do you call two monkeys sharing an Amazon account?
Primates.
How'd you know that, though?
What does a clown wear under his raincoat? Thunderwear. Zion, great work.
Yes, sir.
Go Roos.
Go Roos. Roos.
ಖುಷಿಯ ಹುಡುಕಿದೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಸೋನು ನೀ